But the lesson to everybody is, if you're an entertainer, a musician, entertain. Okay. Go right down the middle of the road.
Kevin, you're a host of Shark Tank. Wouldn't people say the same thing about you? You're a show of a host of an entertainment show.
Have you ever heard me shill for a politician?
Yeah, every night when you come here.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to yesterday's news channel, where we watch CNN so you don't have to. On last night's episode of Newsnight, Kevin O'Leary went toe-to-toe with Ana Navarro, Abby Phillip, and Cornel West. And once again, Kevin O'Leary cut through the nonsense while Ana Navarro embarrassed herself trying to defend Jimmy Kimmel. CNN has spent days spinning this whole story into Trump somehow suppressing speech. But now, with Kimmel reinstated, the entire narrative is kind of falling apart. Anyway, let's watch Scott Jennings crush one of the dopiest liberals I know, Ana Navarro. Let's go.
Backlash to the backlash to the backlash. I mean, I think at the end of the day, one of the big original sins of this whole saga is the Trump administration deciding to make it clear to the whole world that they wanted to be involved. I almost imagine if they had not done that, this would have ended completely differently. Kimmel and Disney would have dealt with this behind closed doors. Maybe he would have been suspended for a few days. They would have dealt with the affiliates and we would be moving on. But Disney was forced to respond to the assumption many people have, which is that this was an attempt of the government to chill speech, which I think, for a lot of Americans, they don't like that.
I've been doing television for a lot of years. The only thing that matters long-term, ratings. Tomorrow night, who's ever writing that monologue for him, he's going to get his best score in decades.
Probably.
Everybody in America is going to be tuning in. They're going to score huge ratings, and that's what matters on TV. Secondly, to consider, I go back to an interview with Johnny Carson, I think it was in the early 80s, when he said, I don't get into politics because why would I want to piss off 50% of my audience? And I think all comedians should think about that. They're entertainers, and they want to entertain people who had a long day. They want to be lifted up, hear something funny. They don't want to be dragged down in the toilet of politics. Michael Jordan said, I want to sell sneakers to Republicans too. I mean, what is this stuff? Entertainers entertain. Why get into this whole thing of partisan politics? I think that's the lesson of this Kimmel thing. I think he'll do very well tomorrow night. Long term, ratings will matter for him, like everybody else. But the lesson to everybody is, if you're an entertainer, a musician, entertain. Okay. Go right down the middle of the road.
Kevin, you're a host of Shark Tank. Wouldn't people say the same thing about you? You're a show of a host of an entertainment show.
Have you ever heard me shill for a politician?
Yeah, every night when you come here.
I shill for policy. I'm a policy wonk. I don't get on stage saying, vote for this man, this woman. I say, here's what their policies do to American entrepreneurs. Good, bad,
all right.
Thank goodness I'm
But
here.
Kevin, I mean, you are a guest here a lot, and I've heard you strongly criticize Democratic politicians. Maybe you don't shill for one politician.
Policy.
No, I know. I've heard you make personal comments about Democratic politicians right here at this table. But to Anna's point, you have free speech rights just like everybody else does. Are they not allowed? You're allowed to do it? Why are comedians not allowed?
Anna adds nothing to the conversation. Her dig or attack, whatever you want to call it, on Kevin is so absurd. Kevin O'Leary's point is simple. Johnny Carson understood his job was to entertain, not divide the country. Like he said, if you're an entertainer, entertain. Ana Navarro pretending Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank is like Jimmy Kimmel tells you everything you need to know. They're not even in the same stratosphere. Kevin doesn't use Shark Tank to unleash hatred against half the country. Meanwhile, Jimmy Kimmel's so-called jokes drip with real malice and hatred. I'm a big believer in the idea that audiences can sense the sentiment behind humor, And for me, whether a comedian's going after either side, if there is an underlying nastiness to the joke, it doesn't land for me most of the time. But I stand by what I said. She adds nothing to the conversation. No argument there, just an empty attack on Kevin. Back to it.
It no longer depends on the evidence. He's brought in people, he's required cases to be brought that have absolutely nothing behind them. He files lawsuits that have nothing behind them. He sued the New York Times last week. The complaint was so bad that the judge threw it out before the New York Times lawyers even had a chance to move for it. It works to an extent, but the problem with the legal system is it's slow. And he can make that Department of Justice move quickly. For example, what he did with Abrego Garcia, he put in a trumped-up case because he didn't like the fact that the guy came back. And he essentially got evidence in there to...
Kevin... Kevin, I have a couple of quibbles with you, but one, let me just read for you. This is a story on CNN.com just today. CEOs are growing alarmed, even if they are publicly staying quiet to avoid the wrath of the White House. Business leaders are quite alarmed in private about the state of democracy in the United States, according to Jeff Sonnenfeld at Yale. But secondly, I mean, look, it's pretty easy to get on Trump's good side. You say you're going to bring a bunch of cash into the United States. You flatter him. I mean, I think business leaders domestically and internationally see the game. They're like, okay, we'll play the game, but that's not to say that the game is the way that this democracy ought to operate. You know, I don't know that Americans want a democracy that is pay to play. Essentially,
okay, wait a second.
Is what I'm saying.
Great CEOs, of which there are many in America, evidenced by the fact that 52 cents of every dollar on earth comes here to invest in those same companies, S&P 500, plus the millions of companies that are private, 5 to 500 employees. We are the essence of the largest economy on earth. That's what we have. What they really care about is their customers, their employees, and their investors. They know that the President of the United States, whoever it is, and the current Congress, and the senators, they're rotating. They rotate through every 4 to 8 years. What they care about is making sure their businesses, and this is why America has worked for 200 years, they keep their eye on the prize. Customers, employees, shareholders. It's the only economy that has survived every attack, including every administration. I don't care.
But I'm not disagreeing with. I'm not disagreeing with that. I agree with you that that's like the basic premise, right? But I also think that it's also very clear that these businesses are taking Trump as he operates, whether they like it or not. Whether they think it's democratic or not, and they're saying, okay, this is how he operates. He needs us to donate to this pet project or that pet project. He needs us to flatter him in this way or that way, and we're going to do it because that's good for our shareholders in the near term.
Reagan,
but I also
Clinton,
think that it could very well be
did the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, but it could very well be that those same companies are concerned about long term what this means for the United States.
What's long term in politics?
Well, long term is a legal environment and a regulatory environment that is subject to the whims of one person rather than rules and regulations that everybody plays by. That's the issue.
The Department of Justice is going to take years for them to get out.
I don't know if you caught the way Abby framed one of her questions, or I should say prefaced it. Abby said to Kevin O'Leary, Americans assume this was the government chilling speech, referring to Jimmy Kimmel being suspended. No, Abby, no average American is thinking that. The only people who believe this nonsense are CNN viewers and the people making up this story on CNN. Brendan Carr made an offhand comment on a podcast. That's not a federal action. It's not Trump signing an order. It's not the White House threatening anyone. This is CNN manufacturing a narrative out of thin air. And the truth is, Jimmy Kimmel has more money and platforms than almost anyone in America. His speech has never been suppressed. This entire debate is fake outrage designed to keep a dead story alive. Look, Kevin O'Leary can speak, Jimmy Kimmel can speak, and so can you. But nobody owes Jimmy Kimmel a TV show. ABC can fire him, suspend him, or reinstate him whenever they want. It's business, not censorship. CNN took one stray comment and turned it into a government conspiracy that never existed. Kevin O'Leary cut right through it, and as I've previously mentioned, Ana Navarro proved that she adds absolutely nothing to the conversation. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with Kevin O'Leary about his analogy with Johnny Carson and point out how politics is poison late night comedy? And you all agree with me, right, that CNN completely made up this story to smear Trump? Anyway, that's it for this video. I wanted to get some feedback from you guys. Have you seen this hype feature? Below some videos, you can click hype and I guess assign points to it. I've noticed when I watch my videos on my personal account, it doesn't offer me the opportunity to hype them. So can you guys just kind of report back to me and let me know what you're seeing on my videos if you do have the option to hype them? And if they do, please consider doing it for me. I'd appreciate it. And I appreciate every single one of you for taking some time out of your day to watch my video. Always put God first. I'll see you guys.